Hey everyone, this is Josh Galvin with Tizish.com. On this video tutorial, I'm going to introduce you to the website named Pinterest, which is basically a virtual pin board. Alright, so here's what we're going to cover on this webinar. We're going to first go over what is Pinterest, and then I'm going to explain to you why it's helpful, and then how it works, and then what you should do to get started. So first and foremost, what is Pinterest? And Pinterest is basically a virtual pin board, and here's what that means. So you see this here. I'm on the home page while I'm logged in. So I'm already logged in. When you first go there, you may or may not see this. All right. So the whole thing is this. Here's how it works. It's a virtual pin board. So I hope you're all familiar with what a pin board is. You know when you're reading a magazine and maybe you liked a certain page, or maybe there was a picture. You know, let's say you're a lot of people use this for weddings. At the moment. So let's say that you're looking at a magazine and you see a picture of something that they want to include in your wedding or something. You rip out the page and you put it in a pin board, right? Well, this is that exact same concept, but it's virtual. And the whole way it works is the whole concept is, you see this page here. If I scroll down, it's showing me what loads of other users that I'm following have pinned. Now, who I'm following is basically who's on Pinterest that are also my Facebook friends. When you sign up, it's going to connect to your Facebook, and what it'll do, it's going to start following. You will start following the people that are in your Facebook friends list that are already using this, and vice versa. They will start following you when they sign up and so forth as well. So just want to let you know that's how that beginning part works. But in general, hopefully the simple concept makes sense of what this is. It's just a virtual pin board. We're going to go over how it works and what it does, but just showing you here. It's a really good tool that I recommend you just check out, because it's a good way to sort content. But we're going to get to the main value shortly. So hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know. But let's just now dive into all the other items on why it matters. So number 2, why is it helpful? Okay, well, here's why I like Pinterest. All right, there's loads of other reasons of sharing, how easy it is to share, and how it's directly connected to Facebook, and it has social media power. Meaning, let's say you come across something for example, this is a picture or something. It's actually just really easy to use. I'm not going to go over. You'll see all that shortly when we go through the rest of it. But it's easy to use. But the main reason why I like it is because of the SEO value. All right, and here's what I mean by the SEO value. So you see this one here that I pinned. So I'm going to click on one of my pins, and you see here it's pulling up a video that I had pinned, and we're going to go over how to do pinning shortly. But you'll see here that on this video here, see that there's a link, and the link goes to my website. And then also, let's go to another one of my pins. You'll see how all this works shortly. So if you're confused on how this looks and all that, don't worry about that. But now let's go to this one here, for instance. And you'll see here that there's a link here as well, and then you could put links in the comment section here as well. But here's the thing to be aware of: these aren't direct links, meaning they are no followed, which means technically you don't get SEO from Google in terms of passing link juice necessarily. Meaning, if you pin all the articles on your website and they have links to it, it doesn't automatically mean that they're going to do so much better. There's loads of other factors, and I'm not saying that this has SEO value for a direct link, but really it has social SEO value, and that will actually help you. Meaning, if you start pinning your items and then people start interacting with it, or maybe repinning, we'll talk about what that stuff means shortly. But in general, it has SEO value, and the main reason why I want you to just pay attention to this is really just for the SEO value. All right. So part of our daily marketing plan, as it is, consists of doing a blog post, and then you have your sharing on social media, share it here, and for a lot of that is just for social promotion, because that does help with the link building and so forth. But on top of that, it has just the direct SEO value of getting your stuff promoted that Google does recognize and see. I think eventually, I don't know the exact way it works. But in general, just showing that if you get active on this and you start pinning your items as well on here, and if other people start pinning it as well, then it will start giving you SEO value. It's not a direct way, and I don't want to get into a whole debate or discussion about no follow links and all these other items. I had another SEO person talk to me briefly online, where we're talking about the SEO value of this, and loads of people are saying that there is no SEO value in here because these links here are no followed, which means Google doesn't pass link juice. However, I want you to know that the value isn't really in the direct link juice. There's so much other value that SEO, that it will help your SEO if your pages are actively on here. It will still help overall. We'll talk about that more as this evolves, but you don't need to understand how electricity works necessarily to turn on a light switch, and that's what I'm just sharing with you right here at the moment. So here's the whole thing though. It is going to have SEO value, and the way that we're going to recommend to use it, we'll go over how it works and how to get started shortly, but the way we're going to recommend to use it is how we, in our daily marketing plan. After you do a blog post and you share something on Facebook, you share it on Twitter, and then you hit the +1 button on it, you're going to also pin it, all right? And then you're going to pin it into your own section here. So you see here how I've made my own virtual pin board for this topic, social media webinars for real estate agents, and this is where I'm going to pin my webinars that I have available. Well, you should start doing that as well for your items. So let's just kind of dive into the how it works item so you can get the big picture feel. And again, I'm going to wrap this up with why this is helpful and why the heck you should use it on this SEO topic, because before you start spending time doing anything, in terms of adding more to your already tight schedule of tasks to do daily, I really want you to understand the value in this. So we'll get back to that on the very last 2 minutes of this webinar. So now let's talk about how this works. Okay, so here's how Pinterest works. So I'm going to go to the home page, and this assumes you've signed in, okay, or that you've already have an account. And when you come to the main website named Pinterest, the way you see it spelled here, there should be a request invite button at the top, or it should say join, one or the other. Just do that, and as soon as you get a membership, you'll be here. So here's the basic mechanics of how it works. All right. So with Pinterest, you get a pin. So look here at the top now. This is my bookmarks menu bar. You can ignore everything you see here except for the following. So let's go to the About section of this page, and now, or I'm sorry, let's go to the Pin It button section. And here's how it works. Okay, so you see here under Goodies, under the Pin It button, I went here under Pin It button. What you first need to do is take this button, and it says add this links to your bookmarks bar. Alright, so the easiest way to add this to your bookmarks bar is the following. Just click on it and hold it down with your mouse, so you see how I'm dragging it, and all you're going to do is drag it into your bookmarks bar, just like you see me doing here. So after I drag it in, then you'll see that it shows up here as a word named Pin It. It has all this weird code. You could ignore that. That doesn't matter for you. The whole point is you see this in your bookmarks bar. If you don't know how to add this to your bookmarks bar, then maybe you could right click, and if you're using Internet Explorer, and put add to favorites, or if you're using Firefox, you could do the same thing. Just click on it and drag it. So depending on your browser, it may vary. But the whole point is the key thing you first need to do is add this into your bookmarks bar. And after you added it into your bookmarks bar, then you're now ready to use it. So let's go into the how it works and what it actually is. So here's the mechanics. Remember, don't overcomplicate this, because at first it might look like, intimidating, like what are all these boxes and all this stuff. So let's just keep it extremely simple and understand that this is just a pin board, like in the real living world. If you have a pin board in front of you with magazines, you're ripping out papers. So let's now go to a website. So I'm going to go to Tizish. I'm going to go to an example from Tizish right here. Okay, so let's say here there's an article or a picture or something you come across. So let's say I'm going to just say this article here, and it's not articles. That's one thing I want to make clear. This Pinterest isn't really for pinning articles. It's for pinning photos or videos, or or basically things like that. And you'll see what I mean shortly. So let's take this one here as an example, right? No, I'll use a different one. I want to use this one here. So let's take this article here. So let's say I click on, let's say you're using the web. I'm showing you how to use this. You're using the web and you come across an article you like. So let's say this is one that you like. Well, the way Pinterest works is all you do is you click on your Pin It button, and then it pulls up a box that looks just like this. And on this box here, you're going to choose what you want to pin. And you see how it says cancel, but all you got to do is you click on whatever item on this page you want to pin. But here's what I want to point out. You notice that it shows 3 videos, and then it shows a photo, and then it shows this other photo here, and then it shows this photo of whoever this person is that should be on GQ magazine. No, I'm just kidding. It shows this. It shows a photo here. I want to show you where it's pulling that from. So I click on cancel pin, and the first photo, you saw this photo, it was pulling up, right? So I clicked on pin, and you see the photo here on the right. It's this SEO webinar one, right? So I cancel that. So it pulled that up, and then you see the videos 1, 2, and 3. those are the videos. Let's click back on pin it, and you'll see the videos 1, 2, and 3. And then this photo here, as well as the photo on the bottom here, those are the ones that are at the top of the site. So you see how this photo's here, and if we scroll to the very bottom of this page, we'll see the final photo right here. So here's why I'm showing you that. Okay, a big question that people have is, or the one thing you didn't notice that wasn't pinnable was what? The content, meaning the URL, the link itself, meaning you can't pin this link directly and say I like this article. What you have to pin is something from the article, like a photo or video and so forth. So keep that distinction in mind. It's going to make a huge difference with how you're going to use this, especially when we cover making a pin board. So let's just use the example. So I click on pin it, and then let's say I want to pin this video. So I want to pin, let's just say, I guess I'll go with this one. I want to pin this one here. And then and what you do is you describe it. So what is this video? This video is the video of how to connect your Google Plus brand page. So where's my pin it button? It's right here. So this is, you just write it in, how to connect your Google Plus brand page to your WordPress website. So the whole, you just say what it is. But here's the thing, you can also put links. So here's one thing, if you like, you could put a link here, you could put from Tizish.com, whatever the case is. Or you could maybe put the direct link. Maybe you want to take this link here and you want to put it here directly, like that. It's up to you. But here's the whole point, you don't have to put the link because there already is one shown. I just want to explain that. So now we click on pin it. And here's how it works. So we could go to see my pin or see your pin, and you'll see here after I pin it, what happens is now this pin shows up on my profile from this Pinterest site, and it looks just like this. It looks just like, like it's a virtual pin. Here it is. Here's the video. It could be played from here directly, and it has my comment right below it. And then it has room for other people to comment, you'll notice. So let's scroll down and you'll see people could add comments here. The people that could add comments are other users of Pinterest. Okay, so now here's the part that what is related to why this matters. Okay, see this repin button. This is just like Twitter, like a retweet, or from Tumblr, it's called a reblog, which means, let's say that you, John Doe, or whoever you are watching this webinar right now, is views this, and you say, hey, I like this video, I want to share it with other people in my network. Well, you could click on this repin button, and basically when you click the repin button, you'll notice that this box here comes up basically after hitting repin. And what repin means basically is kind of like resharing, like I said a little second ago, but what you're doing is you're just going to repin it into one of your boards. I'll show you the board concept now, and then we'll re-explain this. Okay, so here's the whole. Hopefully you're probably seeing right now that this seems more confusing than it is, but it's really so simple. So watch now. Let's go back to Pinterest and show you more about how it works. Alright, so the first thing, so that was the basic, what I just showed you was the basic mechanics of how to use it and how it works in a basic functioning way. But now I want to go over the actual parts of the website that you should be aware of that actually contribute to the overall, I guess, environment of Pinterest, or community of Pinterest. So first, let's go to our personal profile, which is, you could get to your personal profile by clicking your name after you're logged in at the top. And you'll notice here on your name, it has a bio, it has your name, it has your bio, it tells you all the followers. As a reminder, you don't really have to do work for the following parts. Whoever you're connected with on Facebook will naturally start following you typically, because when you sign up, it asks who do you want to follow and so forth. But basically you go there and you could edit your profile, you could add a description, and I highly recommend you do. We'll still go over that as a recap here, so don't worry about that. But the whole point is you put a link to your website and Facebook profile, and people could subscribe. But the whole thing I want you to see is this. So you see here, this is your profile, and you see things called board. Alright, so each thing called a board is basically like a real pin board. So what you have to do is create pin boards by topic. I created one named Social Media Webinars for Real Estate Agents. So if you look here on the right hand side, there's a button called Rearrange Boards. If you click on that, oh, my mistake. So not that one. That's to rearrange them. So click on this button here at the top, you see how it says add plus? If we click on that, it asks you what you want to add. You could add a pin here manually, or you could upload them, meaning let's say you have a photo that is just on your computer that you want to upload and put as a pin board, you could do that here manually. But what I want to show you is creating a board. So if you click on create a board, what a board is just your it's a different topic for a virtual pin board. So I'm going to make one called, let's just make it up, my favorite photos. And this is something, it doesn't really matter what I can put on there. Let's go down, choose a topic. Let's just say this photo is outdoors. Okay, and who can pin? Just me. You could also have where other people can pin and contribute, but I won't really go into that now because let's just keep it simple. Just you, and you create the board, right? So now you'll see here my pin board exists basically, but you'll see there's no pins yet. Okay, so let's go back to my home page now, and we go back to the home page by clicking up here at the top. And then you'll see now that it has this new pin board called My Favorite Photos, and it has my other one, Social Media Webinars. And you can make as many as you want, okay? So the whole point is now we have this new pin board. So now let's go back to the home page. Now understanding the concept of the boards, now let's just review the whole concept of pinning and then repinning. So now let's just go to, I'm going to open up Flickr.com. And you'll see here what I opened up Flickr.com as an example, and I just searched Spain. It's the first thing that came to my head right now. So let's just say this photo. Here's the whole purpose. So I click on this. Let's say you're looking at a photo online, and you're like, wow, this is an amazing photo, right? And you want to pin this. Well, click on pin it. And remember, when I click on pin it, what I'm basically saying is I want to save this photo on my virtual pin board. Which my virtual pin boards are any of these here. So I'm going to go here. I click on the pin it button in my browser. So just to show you, I click on pin it, and now you see here these are my options of what I could pin. But I want to pin this photo, so I click on pin this, and now the box comes up. But now I choose which virtual pin board does this belong to. I'll put it on My Favorite Photos. I put great photo from Spain. I didn't really look at it, but it looks like it's a Catholic cathedral. So the whole point is I click pin it, and now what happens is, let's go to see my pin. Just like I showed earlier, now under Josh Galvin, under my virtual pin board called My Favorite Photos, I now have this one here. So the whole point is you could pin anything, and you'll notice here that it says also from, and then it shows you the source, Flickr.com, correct? You see that? So the whole point is though, you could pin anything you like, anything that's multimedia you could pin, and then and repinning it just basically means someone else, let's say someone sees this same photo, so I'll go here to Pinterest. Let's say if you saw this photo, great photo from Spain, and you click repin, if you click repin, that means that you can now put this photo on your own virtual board as well. So the whole point is it's just a way of sharing photos, videos, and anything, like that. So hopefully that's the basic mechanics of how this works. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, just recap. It's really straightforward and easy. I'm not gonna dive into all the items of using it because this really kind of is a social network, but I'll go over that at the end when I touch on the SEO again. Now let's just kind of talk about what do you have to do to get going, just on the basic level, not into the whole deeper discussion, but just on a basic level, what do you need to get started? So the first thing you got to do is sign up first and foremost. So you just sign up by going to Pinterest.com and just simply hit the invite button, hit request, or hit the join button, whatever it says, and just sign up. It's a pretty straightforward process. After you sign up, then you'll now have to do the following. Number one, set up your profile. And the way you set up your profile is by, after you're logged in, here at the top, just click on your name. And then after you click on your name, you'll see your name with your photo. Click on edit profile. And now here in the edit profile, by the way, this email is not a valid email. I don't use that. So if you're going to try to get a hold of me, don't use this. It's never used. I never even pay attention to it. So the whole point is though, here we are in the emails. So now you could just, the key thing you need to do first is change your about information, and then of course put your location, but most importantly put your website, put your main website here. And then after that, scroll down, and what you want to do is link to Facebook, and then turn on pin interest to your Facebook timeline. and then find friends. Be sure that you do find Facebook friends on Pinterest, because you want to just have it find everyone and friend them all or follow them all. And then number two, or the next thing, turn on Twitter. I obviously didn't realize I didn't have mine on, so I'm going to turn it on right now. So now I have my Twitter synced, and that's what you should do as well. And then after that, just click the Save Profile button here at the bottom. And then you're all set with that first part. Now the next thing you need to do right away is get the Pin It button on your browser. We showed how to do that earlier, but just to quickly recap, what you got to do is go to the About link here at the top and go to the Pin It button link. And now what you got to do here is add this button to your browser. The way you do that, like I said before, was just click on this, hold down the button with your mouse, and drag it into your favorites, into your bookmarks bar. If you're using Internet Explorer, you're going to have to right click, and you should see a little button that says Add to Favorites, and then you'll have it set there. Alright? Now after that, what you want to do is create boards. So remember, the boards were the topics of your pin board. So those are found under Add, and then click on Create Board, and just create some topics. As a quick tip, since remember, this is not it's something that you could post articles on. It's something you could get video or images, multimedia items, and post them on. So if you're just doing blog articles, you don't really want to make a topic called My Blog Articles, because you're not going to really be able to pin stuff from there. Instead, think of the multimedia stuff you do. Maybe you'll do things like let's just say you do videos on short sale. So short sale real estate videos. Whatever the topics are, and then think of the actual multimedia itself. Maybe another one is, let's say you're an agent in Newport Beach, California, or maybe in Beverly Hills, California. Wherever you are, there's probably really good photos of listings that you have or that you come across online that you want to share. So what you could do is do one called, like gorgeous, real estate listings, real estate photos, something like that. The whole point is topics that you will actually be posting stuff about, and that's going to typically be videos like on buyers, sellers, investors, short sales, distress, anything like that. Think of those topics and make a board for them. The other one would be photos, like real estate photos, maybe things like even personal things like natural, like outdoors. I mean, there is no wrong board to make. It's just your preference. What I want you to understand though and get done is just make some that you could actually use for your own benefit, meaning figure out the topics you're going to do. Like for example, I had to do a pin board named Social Media Webinars for Real Estate Agents. I'm going to do another one called Google Plus Marketing Tips. I'm going to do another one called Facebook Marketing Tips. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pin the photo. So this is called SEO Webinar. I'm going to pin this in my SEO pin board. I'm going to pin the photo, but in the photo it's going to link to this article. So the whole point is just think of the topics that you'll be able to take advantage for self-promotion. And I know technically if there's some holistic Pinterest users that say, hey, don't use it for marketing and all those items. Let's kind of ignore them. This is going to be for self-marketing. So put topics that work for you, and then just of course choose the appropriate category. And then after you create those, then you're pretty much all set and start pinning. And remember, just to pin, all you gotta do is hit this pin it button on anywhere that you see a video or any kind of multimedia. And when you pin things, be sure to add some kind of description, like you saw here on these pins. When I clicked on one of them, you see how they all have a description. Be sure to include a description, okay? And remember, you could put links in the descriptions. Now, just to end it on this note, because we are now done. Oops, before this video comes on. Just to end it on this note, what I do want to talk about is just really why I think you should be using this and why it has good SEO value. Number one, it's going to be part of the 80-20 marketing rule. It's going to be part of the actual daily marketing plan that we have. And if you're not familiar with the daily marketing plan, here's where it is. So here it is, and you see the marketing right here, module 1, the daily blogging SEO plan. Using Pinterest to pin your own content is going to become part of this daily plan. So you see here under the daily plan, we have the video here anyhow for your review. But you see here we have a section for social media promotion after publishing your article to do these things as part of your SEO. Well, pinning your own content is going to be part of that. But before you do that, make sure that you did create your own pin board that matches the content that you're pinning. plain and simple. And when you pin things, here's what I want now. This leads into the main SEO conversation, like I was saying. You notice here the links. Well, these go to your proper places, and you could also link here. And they aren't follow, like I said earlier, but really, Google is aware of your social media activity. Meaning, Josh Galvin, they know who I am, and they know of my Pinterest account, and they know that I'm connected to Tizish.com. So the whole point is of me using this, and then of other people, let's say, adding comments or other people repinning this, the repinning button I showed you, and then of me creating pin boards. They're aware of that. And long story short is that that's your social media efforts, just your activity itself will actually help your website in a indirect way. It's not a direct causation, or it's not a direct correlation, meaning using Pinterest will help you move up from position number 10 to 8 to 1. But there is an actual indirect correlation between these efforts. I have a whole separate webinars on that topic that shows you the concept of what I'm calling identity SEO technically, and all those other items. But this is part of that puzzle, and this will help you because it will be seen, especially when we use it with our TZ Plus marketing group to have other members repin your same pins, which we're going to start adding to our mix. But just keep that in mind. Hopefully that makes sense. It's something I highly recommend. And on top of that, though, it's just really something easy to use as well. I mean, if you have a really awesome picture or photo or something, getting people that you don't know to reshare that or repin it is very easy. So growing your popularity on this network will be relatively easy because it's not dependent upon blogging or content creation necessarily. It's just dependent on the visual. And that's something that's really easy to share. And here's the best part about that as well. You don't have to be the creator of these images. You could just be the person that finds these great things that people then share and so forth. But that's if you really want to use it as a social network. I'm really coming from this from the SEO perspective of adding it to our daily marketing plan because it will be noticed by Google, and that will add and contribute to the whole big picture of that whole identity SEO, which is helping this year. And just to give you a quick feel for that, as a recap, I'm going to type in Tizish in Google. And you see here how my photos next to that right here, that's part of what I'm talking about with that identity SEO. I have a whole separate tutorial on this one called how to set up your Google authorship, but that concept is tied to why you should be using Pinterest, all right, and why you need to make it as your name. It's all part of the same puzzle, all right? So go ahead and do that. One quick last comment is that there is a button you see here. It's found under the section under About, under the Pin It button. If you go here, and you see there's a follow button for websites, and then there's a pin it button for websites. I have a separate tutorial along with this one that shows you how to do that, because what you want to do is you're going to want to add the pin it button to your blog postings. And here's what I mean. So you see we have the social buttons coming up here on the left hand side. You see these social buttons here. What we're going to want to add is that pin it button. That's actually one that I see as value. Not so much for just in general, but for the members watching this video and for people part of our private TZ Plus marketing group on Facebook, then it is going to have value to add the Pinterest button on your website. All right, so that's everything for this webinar. If you have any questions, go to facebook.com/Tizish, the way you see Tizish spelled here, and ask me there. Alrighty, well, good luck and take care.